Hey guys, this is Mr. Reed. This is part 2 to Unit 4 in the blueprint book. Part 2, we're going to be going over radius and arc dimensions. There's a lot to that. Geometry is a big part of fabrication. But with your radius and arc dimensions, the main point that I want to draw here is you need to know what a radius is. You know, in a circle, a radius is half the distance across any circle. The full distance is known as diameter, and all the way around, the surface area around it is going to be your circumference. R, you see here in radius and arc dimension, remember that R represents radius. A lot of people get that mixed up with all the abbreviations that we have. It's hard to keep up with everything, but R is going to mean your radius, and that's halfway across any circle. The next part of that, on page 25 of your blueprint book, you're going to have drilled hole terms. And a couple things I want to go over with you there. You got the word through. And that's when a hole is to be drilled all the way through any material, a piece of plate or a pipe, whatever it is. Through means all the way through. It's pretty self-explanatory. The acronym TYP stands for the word typical, meaning that it goes for all the other holes or whatever you have on the print. So if it tells you this is a 3/16 hole drilled all the way through and TYP, that means every hole on that plate is going to be the same, identical. Places is a word that you might see. Rather than being typical for the full drawing, it can say in so many places, and it'll give you that number. It'll indicate that by some kind of number. DP represents depth, how deep your primary holes are to be drilled. And, you know, generally you're going to drill a hole all the way through a piece of plate or something like that when you're fabricating. But you have to ask yourself, why would it even indicate how deep? And the reason is, if you turn the page to page 26, it starts talking about counterbored, countersunk, spot face, and counter drilled holes. These are different types of holes, and these will include a depth. Because what you do in the counterbored situation, now this is for bolts, you know, like an engine block. If you've ever worked on engines, it'll have like a drilled out place where the head of the bolt is flush with the surface, and that's what a counterbored hole is for. So you're going to drill all the way through with your primary bit, whatever size that is, what size the bolt is, and then you're going to drill so deep to get that counterbored effect. It happens the same with countersunk. If you've ever worked built a deck or maybe hung some sheetrock for walls, you're going to drill all the way through, and they actually have a special bit you can buy, a countersunk bit, and it'll drill and just prep it for you, and that way the head of the screw is flush with the surface. It isn't popping up, so you don't stub your toe on a deck, or you know, you can patch it up with sheetrock or whatever. That's the point of your countersunk. So you're going to drill all the way through with your primary bit, then you're going to drill so deep with your second to get this effect, the countersunk. Spot face is almost identical to counterbored, so you're going to drill all the way through and go so deep. Counter drilled is kind of like a combination of counterbored and countersunk, because you have the edge, then you have a tapered edge for the head, and this is going to be for your threads. So you drill all the way through, and then it indicated by DP, you go so deep into your plate to get that counter drilled effect. So on the next video, I'm going to start talking about tolerance and scale sizes, and hopefully wrap up Unit 4. It was chock full of content, and it's a lot to cover, so I had to break it up. But if you have any questions, please get with me for any kind of clarification, or whatever whoever your current instructor is. Thank you.